Hello and welcome to another episode of Laptop Retrospective, and today we have another keyboard made by MelGeek. Now, I have featured a few keyboards with MelGeek on the channel, and this is another sample that they have sent to me for review, and this one's pretty unique for a couple reasons. One is it is their Made68, which is going to be featured on Kickstarter right away. Magnetic switches have a lot of extra benefits that a physical mechanical style switch don't. So you have things like adjustable actuation points or multiple actuation points, and we're talking about a very, very fine precision of detail. And if you know anything about stick drift and how that's solved with Hall sensors, the same principle of Hall sensors are used in each one of the switches, means usually for a very smooth typing experience. Now, before I go any further, I do want to say that this keyboard was sent to me for the purposes of this review. I did not personally purchase it. However, my reviews and opinions remain my own, and I am not being financially compensated for the production of this review. Now, the box is interesting because it is a 10th anniversary style box, and if you look really closely at what is printed on here, there's a bit of a story. So if you have ever heard of a guy named James Clear, he came up with this idea of being 1% better every single day and the gains that you can make, and how if you're just 1% bad every single day, it's nowhere near as bad as how potentially good you could be. And that principle is written in code all over the front of the box here, which is an interesting choice. So that to me hopefully says that they're looking to constantly improve, and this is going to be their best keyboard yet. And one thing that I will say about MelGeek is in the past they have made some very good feeling keyboards. Let's see how they did with this one. And we'll start by opening it up. And as I do, I'll let you know that the Elemento series comes in 4 different colors based on the alchemy elements of earth, fire, wind, and water. And I'll show you a picture of what I was sent, and these are to be determined. They're not finalized designs, and part of me kind of hopes that the designs, especially for fire and earth, are still being worked on, because they're the ones that I probably was the least excited about, and I decided to go with the water variant because the other one just kind of looked bland, and I don't know, the fire one looked a little bit too brown, and so did the earth one. And you might say, well, isn't earth brown? And it's like, yes, earth is brown, but there's a lot of other colors you could use for earth other than just brown. Like some bright greens or something a little bit more alive, I think, would go a long way. We've got ourselves a really handy pull tab to pull the keyboard out of the packaging, and we'll move that off to the side. We have a quick start guide, some stickers, and what appears to be some kind of warranty information. And then, let's see what goodies we get underneath. Looks like we have ourselves a cable, a keycap puller, but not a switch pull, and then a series of keys that include end, insert, option, print screen, and then a B that looks like this. So let's clean all this down and open this up. All right, so we can slide the water keyboard out there. We got some dark blue keys and a really robust chassis with metal reinforcements on either side of the keyboard there. And then we have what appears to be some protective coating. At least that looks to be a coating. And it's written in Chinese, which I don't understand. So let's quickly stop and translate and find out what that actually says. If you pull the film off, then you can't return it after 7 days or something. I don't know. I really hope that that's in English or in multiple languages on the final version, because whatever it is, I'm going to pull it off, because we want to see the really pretty waves that are on underneath. That looks very, very pretty. So if we flip the deck over, we'll see that it's made and designed by MelGeek and powered by MelGeek. So very, very cool. And it says in the corner here, play for fun, not to win. The whole keyboard deck feels really, really stiff, quite good. It's a little lighter than I honestly expected it to be, but that's not a bad thing either. With a lot of MelGeek stuff, there is no real way to open it. That's always been something that I've pointed out with their keyboards. And there's no adjustable feet. So if you don't like the angle that the keyboard is produced on, then that is all you're ever going to get. So you have to be pretty satisfied with how that's going to look. Now, because it is a 68 key, that means that we do not have a function row up here, which might be an immediate deal breaker for some of you. And then we have home, delete, page up, and page down as the basic keys there. And this feels pretty much exactly like I would expect a magnetic keyboard to feel in terms of key sound and key pressing. Let's put this under the microscope, if you will, and take a look at what's going on under our keys. So, this is a hot swappable system, and they always look different, these magnetic keys, because there's no pins immediately visible. So to get a good look, we're going to take a trusty little screwdriver here. Now in this design, interestingly, they've put the magnet right smack dab in the middle, and then the spring coils over it. So that means that the sensor is on the other side of the keyboard probably. So that's an interesting look at how this is designed. The spring just loops over there like it normally would, and then the actual magnet is located right there. This happens to be a Gatoron switch. You can see it right there. And I know that there are a couple of these keyboards that have their own MelGeek variant, but that one is most certainly of a Gatoron design. And we don't have any switches or buttons anywhere on here. And that, of course, is because there is no Bluetooth or 2.4 gigahertz included. So inside the quick start guide, we do have some of the function keys that have already been mapped and how the whole thing is supposed to work. And of course, this is all being primarily driven through MelGeek's Hive software, which we'll take a look at just after we do a quick typing test. So we've got this very nice, soft braided cable. Although the braiding itself is a very loose jacket, I can actually feel the wires underneath. So hopefully durability on the long term isn't an issue. All right, and our keyboard is lighting up. We do have a little bit of a light there happening on the back. Now, some of the other features that we really should point out before I start my typing test is just how responsive this keyboard is. We are looking at an 8,000 hertz pulling rate, or a 0.125 latency millisecond response time. So overall, very, very good. And with that being said, let's go ahead and see how well it does on our standard 1-minute typing test. Okay, 64 words per minute isn't too bad. Well, the primary issue I think I'm having is the uh, location of the shift key and how everything is kind of squished over here just to get that 68 key layout. But overall, very, very good. I have to say, this thing feels really nice. It feels very smooth, and that is obviously because of those Hall sensors. All right, so here we have the Hive software. And I'll just give you a quick tour of some of the features. The keyboard profiles are still under development over here. We can see the basic keyboard layout here that's present, and we can modify that. There's the extended layout and buttons that you can drag and drop here to change out all of the function keys. So if you have different keycaps, you can go ahead and put those in correctly. The next part, of course, we do have is lighting. There are 8 lighting modes that you can preset, and that includes the backlight for the keys, and then of course the box light along the back of the unit as well. This includes rapid trigger, which dynamically activates and deactivates the key, 4-in-1 DKS, which allows you to essentially trigger 4 preset actions with a single tap. So again, lots of functionality there. You can see rapid trigger here is actually set up for the WASD keys, and you'll see a demonstration of that in a game just after we finish up here. And then of course we've got settings to to update firmware and all of that good stuff. Some of the other things worth noting is that you can set switch types based on what's installed, which is handy. You can also calibrate this thing, so I have it set up to auto calibrate as I type, and that gives me better results. And then of course if you want to test fluctuation levels with key presses, you can check that out as I mash the keys just to see the depth of the press and what those do. So pretty slick stuff. Now, let's test a game. So overall, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank MelGeek once again for sending me this sample to take a look at. I think there's a lot of potential here for MelGeek to break into the magnetic switch keyboard market. Like I said, I hope that the designs, as they finalize them, just lean in a bit more on some of those, vibrant colors rather than being a bit too muted, especially when you're going with the kind of alchemy route of those 4 iconic elements. I think this is a pretty decent keyboard in terms of magnetic keyboards. There's more and more choice every day, and this will certainly be one of them. Again, I like a keyboard that I can adjust a little bit more. The absence of a function row without having to use function keys and key switches, I don't know if I'm entirely sold on, but the one thing that I can tell you is that the typing experience, yet again, on a MelGeek keyboard is usually quite good, and this is no exception. The fact that you can adjust down to essentially the smallest of details how those key presses feel really is something neat and is something that you should try to experience. At any rate, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.